right. We're back. This is number 5, I think. And my cousin Bryan just fucking hit me up out of the blue this morning. He's like, hey, guess who's in town? And at first I was like, who? Like, is The Rock doing a fucking autograph signing or some shit that I don't know about? But then he was like, hey, let's go talk some shit. So here we are. We're doing it. And go ahead and say what's up. You're the top camera.
I'm the top camera?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so everyone, my name is Bryan. I'm here to talk shit. I just asked him point blank, we talking shit today or what?
And so, Bryan has his own channel.
Yeah.
He's also an inspiration in all this.
Yeah, so you can find me at It's Just a Vlog on YouTube. I also have an Instagram, Buckshot Bronco, or The Buckshot Bronco. I don't know. I'm new to Instagram. Once again, I was on there once upon a time, but
we'll put the names up.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah. So they can find you, and we'll put it in the description and shit too.
Okay.
So usually I have this format, right, where I like pick up memes that I've been shooting all day, or like from the day before, and then I'll talk about that. I don't have a whole lot to go over, but there's a few things. Oh yeah, the dog. We're pretty certain the dog is racist.
Yeah. So if you can't tell, my melanin, right? My complexion is a lot darker than Sam's.
Yeah.
And we just have this theory that Hendrix hates me.
All right. Is he just standing there?
Yeah.
Hey, go away. We're back again.
Yeah. Small cameo from Hendrix.
So yeah, the dog is a bit of an asshole. Don't fucking cancel me, PETA, or whoever.
We didn't do anything.
Animal rights groups. Yeah, we didn't do anything to him. But we called him an asshole, so
yeah,
that might be enough. So did you get to see the little? I don't think you saw it. The little guy drew a drawing for his teacher.
No.
Here, come over, and I guess I can turn this around.
Yeah, or you can just send it to me.
And so he told me that last night this morning when he showed it to me that his TA is leaving. Tomorrow's her last day. So he wanted to make something for her, and he decided to make this, right? And like, I don't know, man. I'm so overcome with pride, right? To see that not only like I don't have to be like, oh, that's great, honey.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, fuck,
Yeah.
how am I gonna destroy these? But like I'm happy for him and I'm proud of him, and it's great that he has found this thing that he's really into.
Yeah. Is he drawing a lot more now?
Yeah, every day
he
draws. Yeah. But like to nurture it, and to also let it though be his thing.
Yeah.
Not like this is the thing you have to do, right? Like you have to play the piano or you have to play guitar or whatever. Like no, he just does his thing and he makes his own stuff and he gets really into it. And it's nice to see somebody kind of come into their own at 10 years old,
Yeah. And the maturity meme, first thing you said, oh, his TA's leaving. I'm like, damn, she must be hot. He must have a little crush on that TA. Right?
Well, it's funny because I didn't think of it in an appropriate way either, but I thought the same kind of thing yesterday. I was like, oh, I remember having a crush on my
exactly
TA, right?
Yeah.
And she's like a pretty lady, right?
Yeah, now he's talented enough where he can give her a little token, right? Like, hey, you were cool.
He made his own envelope, a homemade envelope to deliver so
she got to be good looking.
A friend of mine sent me, because I posted it on Instagram, right? And a friend of mine sent me a DM, and she said, "Lady killer." Yeah, what's up, bud?
Do you think I should make an origami dragon?
Yeah, of course.
Kind of like the
song? Absolutely. And if you couldn't hear, he just walked in asking if he could make an origami dragon, because he's gotten into origami too. So. I'll put up a picture of the origami he's made. But
see, now that's gonna be for the new incoming TA, so he can be like, hey, just to let you know what I can do.
Here's my skill set. He wanted to learn to draw hands, so he's like, Dad, I want to learn to draw hands, and then he just made this drawing of hands that was fucking ridiculous, and a friend of mine who's an artist, who's been an artist for like 70 years, came into my office, and we were just talking and shit. And then I was like, "Oh, let me show you something that I'm really excited about." So I showed him this picture of Marley's hands drawing, and he was like, "Holy shit, he's really good," you know, like.
Mm-hmm.
And so I told him, and like, that's important, right? To encourage him by telling him, "Oh, I shared your work with a friend of mine who's also an artist, who's been an artist his whole life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got a 70-year-long career, and he thought you were really talented, and to keep going, you know, and to not give up." And it reminded me of like when we went to Pizzeria Bianco, and chef was like, you know, bring some art next time you come, you know, and he was so excited about that. So I thought that was really nice of both my friend Arya and chef to keep encouraging him, you know.
Yeah.
Anyways, your boy Kanye's in the news.
All right. Okay. So before we get into this hate speech, right? So just a comment for you, an observation that my wife Jackie made was, I was watching the podcast right before the World Cup. I think one morning we were eating breakfast, and she's like, "What is it about you, Morales, that all of you just want to be creative? Like you all want to do something creatively, like, right?" And understanding like her family owns a business, see the world a little bit differently than I do, my family does, right? But it's so much truth in that statement, right? Like, why do all, like, you can think of all of our cousins for the most part. We're all very creative people,
right?
And we focus so much on that, and that's not something that was passed on to us by our parents, right? So I think there's something to be said about you nurturing that creativity, whatever aspect they do it, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's drawing or whatever they choose to do. So
yeah, you know, the big guy, he does his video edits.
Yeah, exactly.
And he won't. Maybe I think I was able to manage like stealing one from him, so maybe I'll put it up right here. But he just got into this like community of people that make like TikToks, 15-second edits of like a 30-minute cartoon episode, right, or a fucking 2-hour movie. And they just take little clips and they make a 15-second edit. And he's got like low key, like just like 1,500 followers or something. And the coolest part though is like the people that he's into, that he got into it because of, like, oh, I like this creator, that creator, I want to learn to do that thing. They started following him now. Nice. So like validation, right?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Hey, you're doing a good job. Like,
yeah, just like the validation from your friend.
He was so excited the first time, like his like.
Let's go.
He was like, my idol just started following me, or he's like almost crying and shit. I was like, oh, that's great, bud.
Yeah.
And of course, he got really good at it, and he's just fucking every day. He's like, oh, look at the one I made, you know, or I made 3 today, or like whatever. And yeah, you just gotta like let them figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Let them explore, and support them. And you know that kind of carries into this other thing that happened last night. I went to a show by the Black Legacy Project, who a friend of mine is one of the co-directors of this nonprofit called the Black Legacy Project, and they take like historically black songs and they ask white and black musicians and people of all colors, right, and races to reinterpret these songs. And then they ask them to come up with a song of their own, right? And it's like a week-long project, and it was really great. And my friend, he's been a creative his whole life. He's a musician. He was an actor. All of this, I got to meet his dad for the first time yesterday, and his dad was like, you know, his mom and I, we just wanted to support him with whatever he wanted to do. We just wanted to encourage him and let him play with this, play with that, figure it out. He wanted to act. We supported his acting. He decided he didn't want to act anymore and he wanted to be in the social justice movement. We supported that, right? And he wanted to play music. We did that. And he's like, you just got to let him figure it out. And I was so moved by that example, right, of this dad, and to see what unconditional support looks like once you're got your career off the ground, you know, and you can make a difference, right? Like he's making a difference with this art. So It was really touching. But we're still talking about.
But with that being said, let's get into some hateful.
Yeah. So this thing just came up on my feed that he owes, or Yeezy owes California $600,000 in state taxes. And it doesn't surprise me. And I know people that have been in his Sunday service choir.
Yeah.
And people like didn't get paid for years, if they got paid at all. And production companies that never got paid, like millions of dollars of unpaid bills, right? And because I knew this even 2-3 years ago, people that I know who are in the industry who have worked for him have never gotten paid. I'm like, oh, he's just a piece of shit, right? Like, I don't care how brilliant he is. You gotta pay your people, right? You gotta pay your bills. Like, people are depending on the livelihood. It's not just about exposure. Like, nobody, no disrespect to anybody that's actually done this, but nobody gives a shit if you were in Kanye's Sunday service choir. No disrespect, but there was 100 and something of you, and you're all anonymous. It's just like you're backup singers. Like, it's one person's show, and nobody else gets to shine. And the luster of that thing on your resume wears off after a while, like
especially now,
right? Like, you would almost I never worked with Kanye, right? So it speaks though to the ongoing thing, the controversy, and it's not even a controversy anymore. You just do shitty things, like people are gonna speak about it, right? I guess he did this today. He told Jewish people to forgive Hitler and to, quote, let it go and stop trying to force it onto other people. I don't know if you watched the podcast a couple of days ago or it was yesterday, where I was kind of like, not defending Kanye, but also like, hey, I'm not going to stop listening to his music, because the last piece of music that I liked of his was in 2013, right?
Okay.
Yeezus was like the last record of his that I was like, all right, there's some good songs on here, right?
Yeah.
And this was yesterday. This was my opinion yesterday, right? I was like, don't fucking tell me what I can and can't listen to.
Yeah.
Especially when all this work was made by a Kanye that I think would find this Kanye deplorable, right? Like, that's George Bush doesn't care about black people Kanye.
Yeah.
What would he say about this Kanye, right?
Yeah.
But so my opinion yesterday was, don't fucking tell me who I can and can't listen to.
Yeah.
My opinion today is like, this is, I don't know that I would be comfortable myself with turning on fucking Jesus Walks right now,
So that's interesting that you say that, because since his initial anti-Semitic comments, I'm just not a fan anymore. So funny enough, the day after, so I have a tendency to leave my shoes out, right? I have 2 dogs. I have a Shih Tzu and an Aussie Doodle. So Charlotte, the Aussie Doodle, she loves chewing on shoes. It just so happens that I left my Yeezys out, and she got into them and she tore them up. And then, if it had been any other pair of shoes, I'd be like, fuck, But the fact that it was those shoes, after what he had said,
right,
I was like, good riddance. I'm glad. Now I have an excuse not to wear them.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like the Balenciagas.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I told my wife, she has a pair. I was like, you should get rid of them. She was like, yeah, I'll probably just come to Charlotte. Right? Like, any crazy shit happening in our house, I'll just give it to the dogs. Right? Let them follow it. But no, like, for the longest time, I was a big Kanye defender, because I saw the brilliance. Right? I saw the social capital he had. Like, the fact that you speak of Yeezus, it's an angry album.
Yeah.
That came out, I think, my senior year, if not my freshman year of college, right? And I love that album. I love My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. That's my Kanye album. Like, that's what made me a fan and like made me recognize, right?
Yeah.
How powerfully creative he was. And so anytime he said crazy shit, I was always like, you just don't understand.
You take the good with the bad.
right? No, it was. It's like it's hard. It's hard for. It's kind of like that whole, this superiority complex that Rick and Morty fans have. Oh, you just don't.
You don't get it.
You don't get it, right? This is art.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was always. That's how I always.
I'm kind of an asshole like that about Rick and Morty, though.
Right. Yeah, and that's how I always rationalize Kanye. Like you just don't
get
fucking
it.
get it. Like he's operating on a completely different level, right?
Yeah.
Going back to Yeezus, he was mad on that album. Like, right? I remember reading a tweet once. Like I felt like Kanye was yelling at me when I was listening to Yeezus, right?
Yeah.
And he was angry because at the time, right, the fashion industry.
Well, that has Black Skinhead on it, right?
Yeah, right.
It was a fucking ridiculous record.
Yeah, right. And they were gatekeeping him. Like you can't be the art director at fucking any fashion house, right? And he's like, I have a greater influence than all of you guys do right now. I know what the kids want, so to speak, right? And you're not allowing me in because your pride and your ego. You don't want to let an outsider in. And then a couple of years later, he signs the deal. He goes from Nike to Adidas. And how much was Adidas worth before all of this, right? How much was he worth, right? What was the brand of Yeezy worth? You couldn't go to any mall, any fucking place in the United States or maybe even around the world and not see a pair of Yeezys on someone's feet, right?
Could you even walk into a store and buy one?
No, and you couldn't.
It was like that at that point, right?
Yeah,
it was impossible to get
and keep in mind,
fucking Yeezys.
They were dropping Yeezys every month, maybe multiple times a month, and you still had to go pay, depending on which colorway, right? $300, $400, $500, maybe above retail, to get a pair of these, right? But after he said that, I was like, regardless of what the goal was, maybe it was just to get out of your contracts. It's a pretty extreme way. And an extreme position to take, if that's your goal. Right. And I don't think that's what it was. I think he's shown his true colors, and you're right. He on The Life of Pablo, right? He made that song. I miss the old Kanye.
Yeah.
To your point, that Kanye, George Bush Kanye, would look at today's Kanye and be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Right. Kanye West doesn't care about black people, right, or people of color in general, or people that have suffered, right. So I can't listen to his music. I can't wear his clothes. I can't wear his shoes, right? I have these memories of him, but it's not. I just can't enjoy it, and that's a principle of mine. Like, you said these things, you mean these things in this moment. That's not to say he can't grow, he can't get past this, but right now I can't support Kanye.
So that's the eternal debate, right? In art, right? The artist, separating the artist from the art.
Yeah.
I mean, we can really tread some dangerous water here. Where do you draw the line, right? Like Woody Allen, who I'm not a fan of. I never have.
I've never watched a Woody Allen.
I never have been. So. I'm just like, I don't fucking get it. I don't understand why these people continue to work with somebody whose work is kind of like, maybe it was great in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
But what the fuck, he's not making masterpieces now,
yeah.
Wouldn't bend over backwards for. It's so easy, I think. Sorry, I'm gonna go off on a little bit of a sidebar here. It's so easy to be like, fuck Bill Cosby and fuck Harvey Weinstein, right? These fucking monsters. But there are people that are willing to work with Kevin Spacey now. Right? Like, he's getting back into movies. And there's people, I've kind of been on this, because of the World Cup, I've been on this Ronaldo trip, right? And there's a country of 10 million people who cheer him on. There are people on the internet defending him as the greatest of all time, and they don't care what he has allegedly done, right?
Yeah.
And it's really hard for me to, I say allegedly because I gotta cover my own ass.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you're sitting there in a deposition with your own lawyers and you think that because this is never gonna see the light of day, you admit to them that, and I'm paraphrasing here, that she said no, and she told me to stop, and I apologized afterwards. That's pretty indefensible. Yet somehow people still will defend, if not the person, the footballing greatness, right? The genius. So we have a standard for the Harvey Weinsteins and the Bill Cosbys of the world, but it seems to not matter when it comes to the Ronaldos and the Kevin Spaceys. And Picasso was a notorious womanizer. He was, an asshole, terrible asshole to women. And there's entire museum galleries and wings dedicated to his work, right? And he's widely considered the greatest artist of the 20th century, right? We can go down the list of terrible shit artists have done to other people in forever. My friend, the same artist who I was telling you about earlier, was talking to me about Da Vinci, and he was like, he would fuck anything that moved. Like, it didn't matter, right? Like, but do we talk about that? No, we just talk about how fucking great Da Vinci was, right?
Yeah.
So I appreciate that you kind of have decided to not support Kanye
Or defend,
of course.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about people who have my position, where it's like, and again, my position changed, or is at least was
it's a fluid situation,
altered today.
Yeah, it's a fluid situation
from the defense that I had yesterday, and my position doesn't change in that my argument was, don't tell me what the fuck to do and how the fuck to think, right? Let me make those decisions for myself.
Yeah.
But how do we kind of what's indefensible, right? I don't think we're gonna figure that out.
Oh no, yeah.
But what's indefensible?
And I think my position comes from, I'm one consumer of Kanye's brand, right? I'm choosing not to listen to his music. I'm choosing not to wear his shoes or buy another pair of his shoes, right? And I'm so anti-authority myself. I hate when people tell me you can't do something, because then I'm like, well, fuck you, I'm gonna go do that. And twice as much or as better than you thought I could do it, right? So I'm very much against telling other people, like, oh, you shouldn't support this person, or you shouldn't buy that piece of clothing, or you shouldn't, because of what I think, right? But I think I have the right where I can make the decision and say, oh, you know what, it's just no longer for me, right? And just stick to that position, right? But yeah, I think that's difficult, because you can't deny the fact that, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, I think it won a Grammy for Album of the Year, maybe? You can't erase that,
Right.
You can't erase the accomplishment. But do I have to continue to support this person? No, I don't. I personally don't think I have to.
So, how much do you know about? So I'm just gonna segue right out of this.
Yeah.
I have the worst segues, by the way. I'm like, all right, on to the next fucking thing. I've run out of things to say. I'm really curious to have these debates though with friends of mine who are artists, because we talk about it all the time. How do you defend somebody who was a terrible person but made brilliant work, right? But for me, the underlying message is, don't tell people what to do, what to think, how to behave, what to purchase, what to support.
Yeah.
You can just distance yourself from those
Exactly.
people,
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be your friend anymore because you support Kanye West, right? Like, it's that simple, right?
Well, I think that's a pretty extreme take, though, right? Like, I'm just gonna, because they choose to do that. Like, if...
Yeah, but if it bothered you that much...
well, I don't think I would allow anything to bother me that much. And when it comes to this, maybe maybe if it's something a little bit more severe, right? And not to minimize the impact that his words have had, right? But I think I would never stop being friends with someone because they have a differing opinion, right? On something truly insignificant, like, oh, you're wearing his shoes, like, I'm not going to be your friend. All right, cool. I think that's rather extreme.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you know about Theranos?
About what?
Theranos. Nothing?
No.
So Elizabeth Holmes was one of America's greatest swindlers, basically. She created this company that supposedly could take a prick of blood, like
like
a diabetes test, right? And it would go into this machine that was their own proprietary technology, and it would give you a whole report on everything that was wrong with you. Like, it would do all of your blood work from a drop of blood, right?
Yeah.
It was revolutionary. It was supposed to, undo.
Yeah, every time I go get
medicine.
blood drawn, it's like 7-8 vials.
Yeah, so that was the thing, right? No
Yeah.
more vials, like all this shit. Anyways, it was all a fraud.
Yeah.
Billions of dollars. Like, she had actually a super impressive board. Her board was extraordinary. And they had a lot of reach, right? Secretary of State. I think Secretary of Defense. Billionaires, right? The Oracle founder was one of her original investors. Just enormous reach, right? And but it was all a fraud. So she was sentenced to prison a couple weeks ago, 10 years for fraud, right?
Slap on the wrist.
I think 10 years, maybe 11 or 12. And her COO was just sentenced today to 13 years. And I'm like, wouldn't the founder / CEO deserve more time?
Yeah.
Than the second in command, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. And it just seems sketch that here's this pretty, innocent looking white lady. And I don't want to like start a fucking race baiting thing, but how come the Indian guy who was second in command, who in the chain of command was taking orders, how come he gets 13 years?
Well, there's always got to be a fall guy,
Yeah. I don't know. They should have both. I thought they should have both fucking gotten 25 years.
Okay, but they'll probably serve 2 years, and then they'll be on parole or probation for the remaining time for good behavior, right?
Yeah.
In their private suite, in their private prison, but
Yeah, no, it's they'll certainly get the VIP treatment.
Oh yeah.
And they'll go to like a low
exactly
security, minimum security,
Yeah.
No, she I think they're even trying to make an accommodation for her because she's a new mom. So they're trying to figure that out. And I talked about this yesterday because about this fucking FTX, right?
Okay. I knew this was going to come up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, this motherfucker's out in the Bahamas living his life. Yeah. No consequences yet.
Yeah.
Right? Fucking Elizabeth, is that her name? Elizabeth?
I think so. Maybe.
His
little piece.
His piece.
Yeah.
But also, she was running a fund, too, with FTX money.
Alameda Research,
Yeah. So, she's in New York City fucking walking around ordering coffee like nothing's happened. And if you or I walked into 7-Eleven and tried to snag a bag of chips, how do you think that would go, right?
Yeah.
All of this shit just doesn't sit well with me. Like, why do these white collar crimes that actually cost tunes of billions of dollars go seemingly unpunished or minimally punished? But I didn't go into this yesterday because I needed somebody to bounce it off of, but Cain Velasquez, right?
Okay.
Shot at this guy.
Yeah.
And with malicious intent.
For context for everyone. So
context.
One of Cain's children, I believe.
So who's Cain first?
Yeah. So Cain Velasquez, former UFC heavyweight champion. So one of his kids was at daycare, and I guess one of the staff at this daycare had molested his child
hundreds of times.
Yeah,
allegedly,
allegedly, right? And not only his kid, but allegedly multiple other kids at this daycare.
Right.
So when his child came to Cain and told him what had happened, right? Cain, like any other parent, I would imagine. I'm not a parent myself, but I would imagine I would have done the same thing. Got into a car with a firearm, and allegedly shot at this guy. And so, right?
Yeah, so they take him in, right?
Yeah.
And again, malicious intent, no doubt.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
not
absolutely.
disputing. I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think he even pled not
yeah.
guilty, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think he pled, or maybe no context or whatever. But it gets put away, and even though everybody that had any commentary on this thought that he was within reason to do this, even if it's an unreasonable thing to do, like
Yeah.
the passion, the crime was a crime of
Heat the
passion,
moment,
right?
Yeah.
I certainly would have done the same thing. Actually, my thought when I first read about this was, why didn't he just beat the fuck out of him, right? Like, just beat the living shit out of him.
Yeah.
He was the fucking UFC heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
If he didn't have those bum knees, he probably could have been the greatest UFC heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
And probably would have stopped short of killing the guy, but would have beaten the living fuck out of him.
Yeah.
But anyways, everybody across the board unanimously in the MMA space was like, he was justified.
Yeah.
It's still committed a crime, right? But everybody was like, he's justified. They should, give him a fair trial. They should
Let him out on bail.
everything into consideration and let him out of bail.
Yeah.
But he was imprisoned for 7 months, 8 months.
It was a pretty good amount of time.
Right, it was a good stretch of time. Finally, the judge relented and gave him bail. But that was immediate, right? Like, here's the crime, here's the criminal, put him away, and then let's figure out his trial and sentencing, right?
And for additional context, he has a tattoo across his collarbone that says Brown Pride.
Yeah. So, where the fuck are these charges and this sense of justice when it's people that are ruining people's lives?
Yeah.
Right? Like, some people, I'm sure, lost all of their life savings investing in this shit.
So two things. First, happy news on Kane. He was in, I think, Arizona or New Mexico this weekend wrestling professionally
Oh, yeah.
for AAA. And
I'm
he won.
shocked they let him out of the state.
Yeah, so he went before the judge and said, hey, I'm going straight here for the event, coming straight back. I think he had to pay for the officer that was supervising him at the hotel. He had to stay at the hotel. But yeah, he wrestled that for AAA and won.
Bro, is AAA paying him that kind of money that he can?
I'm sure they covered it.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they had to have made. Right, I would have paid to go see Kane if he was in the area.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they made their money back. I think it was at it had to have been in Arizona, the University of Arizona, because I think that's where the event was hosted.
Oh, I see.
So his alma mater, right?
Yeah.
So he's a draw.
Yeah. So a little more context. We're both like MMA and wrestling nerds. Like, we love this shit. And
Absolutely.
one of the things we're going to talk about in a minute is fucking Ariel Helwani.
Okay.
And Dana White. Dana White said some dumb shit today about football.
I didn't see that.
And he said soccer is like the most pointless sport in the world.
Okay.
And then anyways, we'll get into all that shit in a minute. But anyways, FTX.
Yeah, FTX. So, as you know, I've been telling you about this shit for years now.
Yeah.
Right? Crypto. It's the way of the future, right? I think it's undisputable that it'll have some impact in our lives, if not your kids' lives, my kids' lives, right? It's here to stay, and I think to dispute that is pointless. But
Right.
one of the big reasons why I liked crypto and cryptography and blockchain technology was the idea of decentralization. The idea that I don't need a middleman to transact with another person.
Right.
That I can directly send Bitcoin or Ether, right, Ethereum, or whatever other altcoin you want to use. I don't have to go through a bank. I don't have to submit a loan application. My credit score doesn't have any effect on the fact that I can send or buy crypto and send it to another person, right?
Yep.
And that it's permanently recorded and cannot be altered by any single entity, right? That's the concept that drew me in. I was like, holy shit, this is revolutionary. How do more people not know about this?
So pause.
Right?
When you say that, and this has been the only thing that gives me hope for like future justice in all of this, is that because of the ledger,
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna be able to audit this thing.
Oh yeah,
to
absolutely.
death, and they're gonna know exactly what the fuck happened.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Unlike other kind of like traditional white collar crimes.
Yeah, it just disappears.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where the paper trail can just get burned or shredded or whatever.
And, to some extent, I think I haven't really done too much research into Alameda, right? Because that's separate from FTX.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much of a paper trail there will be there.
Mm.
So it's kind of bleak. But, so the idea of decentralization, right?
Yeah.
I'm the owner of my assets, and no one can take these. Well, you can. You can always get phished and hacked, but I'm in control of this. No one can take this from me unless I give them permission to, right? And I don't have to go through any third party or any traditional financial institution to make a transaction, right? So, right, I have accounts in multiple centralized exchanges. I think Coinbase, right, is the biggest one that most people listening might know about, right? That's a centralized exchange because Coinbase has is the custodian of your crypto on their exchange, right? Not you, because they're holding it for you. You just purchased it on their exchange. So they can freeze your account and freeze your assets and then just do whatever they want with it, right? If they have reason or grounds to do so, right? Whereas if I had a wallet, whether it was cold storage or hot storage, right, I'm the one who has ownership or is the custodian of the crypto, right? But with Coinbase, Binance, right, whatever other exchange you want to say, they weren't out there paying Tom Brady however amount of money to be to fucking promote this stuff.
To be a shill.
Yeah, they weren't buying rights to Major League Baseball to be on the jacket of the referees during the World Series. They weren't going out there and buying the naming rights to the Miami Heat basketball arena. Where's all this money coming from? And why is this the way that you decide to spend that money?
So FTX was doing this.
FTX was doing this, right? Now you have...
Are they just trying to position themselves to be
as
the biggest...
that, yeah, right? Which, okay, cool. That's fine. But this
still,
is a
where's
lot
the
of fucking money,
Yeah.
that you're spending on these things. Which have nothing to do with the whole point of crypto. Right? Which is decentralization. I mean, that's what Satoshi back in the day, right? Like, you don't need anyone. You can do this all on your own with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So...
You can buy pizza for billions of dollars.
Yeah. So, when I saw this from FTX, like, in the last 2 years, right, I think, I knew, I was like, I'm not signing up for an account there. I'm not keeping my crypto in their accounts, like, because I don't know how they're paying for all this.
So,
because this is a lot of money.
To you, it was like fishy.
Oh yeah, I was a red flag. I was like, I'm not, because I had thought about it. I was like, oh yeah, they have like they're fucking. If they're not big, they're growing really fast, so they must be secure, right? So that was the mentality. Like, oh, they're coming after Coinbase, they're coming after Binance. But I was like, no, like you're doing all these things so rapidly. There's no way.
It's Crypto.com, another one of these.
So yeah, Crypto.com, right? So they bought the naming rights to the Los Angeles Lakers, right?
The Staples Center.
Yeah, the Staples, formerly the Staples. Yeah,
what a waste of fucking money, guys, because it's always going to be fucking Staples Center. Like, it's never not going to be fucking Staples Center.
Yeah, to anyone from the area, yeah. But, like, I don't have an account there, right?
But it's the same shit. Like,
yeah, but
it's still
exactly,
just an exchange, right?
Yeah, it's just a centralized exchange, right? So... For those reasons, I was like, this seems shady. This seems red flag, right?
That's toxic, guys.
Yeah, exactly. so do I feel bad for everyone? Yeah, absolutely. Because, right, like, I would hate for my money, as little as it is, to be in limbo, right? And I kind of am impacted because I had a credit card at BlockFi because it was like, oh, you'll get...
you get
3%
like
back
you
for...
get some crypto back.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And cash back, crypto back, right?
Yeah.
So now, like, they're affected by all that, and then it's like, I can't even use the fucking card, but I still got to pay off the debt, right? And I don't have access to all that crypto that I accumulated by using the card,
what the
right?
fuck?
So now it's like, oh, we filed for Chapter 11. Right,
well, motherfuckers,
cool, right?
I filed for
Yeah,
Chapter
exactly,
11 too.
you know?
Shit.
So
if I'm
But
not
whatever,
getting paid,
right?
you're not getting paid.
Yeah, exactly, right? That's my idea, right?
Yeah.
No, but still got to pay the bills. But so do I feel bad for everyone? Yeah, but then like I think there were so many red flags there, right? And then if you didn't know, apparently his parents are like professors at Stanford, right? And that dealt in like securities law or whatever. And then he's just been paying all these congressmen, right?
Oh, tons of money.
Right? To like pass these regulations.
Tons of money.
So that he can essentially expel his competition like Coinbase and Binance here in the United States, right? So he was trying to like pay all this money to celebrities, to congressmen, right? To make sure that he was the industry leader. But he was using his customers' funds to do all this on top of buying giving everyone like $110 allowance to DoorDash every day.
Every day?
Yeah, like every day. It's for every employee, right? And then like buying homes for people and not having any paper trail for it. So it's like...
So, here's the thing with these scammers, right? So, do you know about WeWorks?
Sounds familiar.
So, another fucking scam, right? Like, the horrible leadership. And, by the way, this fucking guy got to walk away with, like, over $1 billion as his golden parachute. It was wild. But same thing, like, what he was doing was he was cooking the books so that instead of, like, showing his debt and his expenses, it was all profit. Like, his books were so fucking cooked. But Elizabeth Holmes and Anna Delvey, right? Did you ever see that fucking that show, that Anna Delvey show? She was like this fake heiress. She was pretending to be a rich German heiress.
Yeah.
And the thing with these people is, like, it seems like they're always just this close to the scam working.
Oh, yeah.
And if the scam worked, it would all be forgiven, right? It would all be kosher, no problem. Like, I cleaned out my enemies. I'm the only game in town. Now I have, it's all a Ponzi scheme, right? Now I have the resources to back up all the shit that I just spent all this money on.
Yeah.
To pay off all these politicians, to do all this dumb shit with the money, to build this brand. But it always comes up just this much short, you know?
And it's funny, right? So another scammer, right, who on Rogan's podcast, they were talking about the Liver King, right?
Oh, the fucking Liver King, yeah.
Like, it turns out he was taking steroids the whole time, but he was like, oh, yeah, I just eat raw meat.
Fucking clean, bro. He was natty.
Yeah, and he was this close, right?
Fucking natty.
He was this close.
Yeah.
But, you know, you ultimately always get caught. But, yeah, crypto's just crazy, though, because there's so much unknown. And how is the United States going to regulate it?
Right.
I think the only two securities that are not deemed a security are Bitcoin and Ethereum, because of how large of a network it is, right? And that it can't be controlled by one single entity. Right? So
now, though, these politicians all have fucking egg on their face.
Yeah, and then that's the terrible thing about this, right?
So now they're going to be pissed because they have to overreact.
Yeah, and then you have this guy that was like pretty much assuring you like this isn't a Ponzi scheme. Right, but now it's blown up in their face, and now they have to treat everything like this is all a Ponzi scheme, right? And I think the crypto community, has tried so hard to make sure that this is seen as a legitimate technology, because that's what it is, right? As much as Tesla is a car, it's technology, right? It's software. We've done so much to make sure that it's seen positively, and that, you know, this narrative about, oh, well, criminals use it to pay for drugs and murder and whatever, right? Yeah, and everything. Well, yeah, well, then, you know, you have this guy just
the U.S. dollar
robbing.
for the same thing.
Yeah, exactly, right? So it sucks because now this is going to have a negative impact on the entire community as a whole, for everyone that is trying to do things the right way. You just see where it takes, but yeah, crypto's here to stay. I think that's, no matter what, crypto's here to stay.
Yeah. Well, I agree, and you finally got me to buy some. Thankfully, I waited for things to go south.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's one of those buy low.
So what do they call it? What does crypto call it? Oh man, there's a word for this. Anyways, just a heads up, right? So for anyone that doesn't know much about crypto, right, Bitcoin I think is the household name, right? So with Bitcoin, every 4 years, I believe, what happens is the amount that a person securing the network, processing these transactions, adding them to the ledger, is rewarded with Bitcoin, right? For providing the computational power to process these transactions. So, right now it might be, let's say 16, right, Bitcoin that they get. I don't think that's the actual number, right? But every 4 years, what happens is that number that the network provider is rewarded with is cut in half. Right. And this has happened enough times now where it's proven that after a halving, I think is what they call it, the price of Bitcoin goes up.
Right.
The next halving is this upcoming April.
23.
Oh,
I thought it was 24.
It may be 24. I think it's 23 though. I can check, but it's proven, right? And based on the fact that it's happened the last 3 times, right? It's gone up and reached a new all-time high. Yeah. I think some research that I saw said that it'll reach an all-time high of $140,000 for one Bitcoin.
That sounds right. That sounds within reason. Yeah.
And what's it at? The last time I checked, I think yesterday or today, like 16 grand.
Yeah.
That's by any means say that's nothing. That's a lot of money.
But it peaked at 60 something.
Yes,
right?
like 68, I believe.
Yeah.
So if you invested even like $1,000 in it, like you're gonna make a nice amount of money in the next couple of years, right? So something to consider.
This is not investment advice.
Oh, absolutely not. Because trust me, I've gotten wrecked. So not investment advice, but definitely educate yourself about
right?
it.
Like you're holding on to it.
Well, I thought I was with that credit card, but now evidently I'm not. Yeah. So but
they're holding on to it for you.
Do some learning. But not financial advice.
Yeah. There's another awful segue. I think just acknowledging that I have terrible segues is a good segue. There's footage came out today of Ronaldo throwing a tantrum as he was leaving the pitch. Basically, the entire team is on one side of the pitch, like thanking the fans for being there, and this man-child is just storming off the pitch in a fit. And can we agree that we're sick of this shit? Like, he had a great career. It's time to move on. Like, just fuck off.
So, I was reading an article about that today, right? About him. And, with all the alleged things that have happened and that he's done, right? I don't know how truthful his statement is, but, like, if his daughter was really in the hospital and there was something wrong and they had, like, no empathy towards him, that's fucked, right? I think because his twins, right? It was a boy and a girl, and the boy died. Yeah, so that's fucked. But the article was saying that, this couldn't have come at a worse time for him. Because he has lost his step. Right? He's still one of the most influential athletes in the world, but he has lost his step. This is his last World Cup. And the fact that he had that explosion with Manchester, right? So he no longer has a club. He's being benched on the world's biggest stage for soccer, football.
At a dangerous time too, right? Like this was a knockout game. Yeah. This wasn't the last group game where they could have sat all the starters and fucked around, which they did, and they ended up losing. But he was very clearly trying to make an example out of him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And and then the fact that his replacement comes in and scores a hat trick. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Just illustrates that the game has passed him or is starting to pass him, right? And where this was supposed to be his last moment in the spotlight at the World Cup, right? Yeah. Like now he's relegated to the bench. Yeah. And now he doesn't have a club to go back to. And he's going to have to go play in Saudi Arabia for a ridiculous amount of money.
$200 million a year.
Yeah, congratulations to him. I fucking wish, right? Yeah. But then, so how do you go from being the guy that anyone 2 years ago would have thrown the entire bank at to have on their team, right? Where now not even Real Madrid wants him, Juventus doesn't want him back, right? like any of his past teams that he's played with, right? I think Sporting Lisbon is the team, right? That
Yeah,
played
he
with?
was a Sporting.
Yeah.
Wait, Sporting doesn't want him back?
No, apparently not, right? So, I don't know what that's true, but that's what the article is saying, right? Like, no one wants him.
Yeah.
And now he has to go play for
He's
the
a
Saudis.
fucking headache.
Right, yeah, because exactly, like, he's no longer worth
He's not worth the headache.
Yeah. So, like, what a terrible time for all this to kind of just happen at once, right?
Right. I mean, it's quintessential, like, child star
Oh, yeah.
who can't figure out life as an adult, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, he's always been petulant. He's always been... I mean, I remember seeing him for the first time at the Euro 2004. He was 17, 18 at the time. And at that time, I knew dick about football, right? But I knew enough to be like, that guy's going to be the greatest footballer on the planet in a few years. And then a few years later, he was, right? And he was for a long time. And it was number 1 and number 2, right? And then they would swap him and Messi.
I've always preferred Ronaldo over Messi, but that's
yeah. But you know, they and just forget everything else. They swapped Ballon d'Ors for 9 years,
oh, yeah,
right?
It's
just
crazy.
Back and forth, right? Just dominance.
Yeah.
And what you just said is really interesting, right? That the game has passed them by, and I would expand on that and say that the game isn't better than it was 4 years ago or 5 years ago or 6 years ago. He's just worse.
Yeah, he's just getting older.
Right?
Yeah.
And I said this the other day. He lost his step.
Mm-hmm.
You see him full speed now, and guys are like catching up to him, no problem.
Yeah.
Right? When before he was fucking murderous with his speed.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, those things that were endearing or charming 5 years ago, because you know he would fucking throw his fit, but then the very next play he would score.
Yeah.
You'd like, oh yeah,
yeah,
just,
yeah.
You know, he's
Ronaldo being Ronaldo.
Yeah, he's just, you know, he's frustrated with himself, right?
Yeah.
Now it's like petulance.
Yeah.
And he's a 40-year-old man.
Yeah.
And he doesn't fucking get it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's really sad to see. And I saw this really powerful picture today of the missus. And my God, after the shit she said yesterday about, you know, she tweeted that, or put it on Instagram that, you know, while the world is watching, but very like condescendingly, like, congratulations to Portugal.
Yeah.
While the world is watching the game, everybody's eyes are on you, and I hope God and your little friend Fernando, the fucking coach, go hand in hand and like basically fuck off, right?
Yeah.
And I said yesterday, I was like, these people deserve each other, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes you just meet your the person that you deserve, and the person that just feeds all of that negativity in your life, right? And there's this great picture today of her looking down from the balcony, and it's just like fucking Lady Macbeth, dude. Like, the look on her face is just like disdain and hatred, and I don't know that he can get out of this headspace. He's not even in a rut. He's just on the decline. He's on the wrong side of the peak, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know that he can get out of this headspace and recognize that he's just not the same fucking footballer that he was 4 years ago. And by the way, since 2006, he's never been good at the World Cup. Mm-hmm. He's never done shit for the team at the World Cup. Never ever fucking scored even a single goal in the knockout games. And since 2006, they got to the semis. They had the most fucking exquisite killer team that country's ever had. It was a fucking murderer's row of 11, right? They haven't had a team like that since, but and all of the weight of the expectations and the hopes of the country have been on his back. He hasn't done shit with it. And in 5 World Cups, if you haven't done anything in the previous 4, you're certainly going to do jack shit in the 5th when you're 40 years old.
Yeah.
So I don't know though. I don't know that he has it in him to look in the mirror and be like, yeah, okay, I'm not a starter anymore. Not for this country.
Yeah.
Not for this team. And he's just gonna be angry and pissed off at the world. I read today that he doesn't want to take that $200 million deal because he wants to play Champions League football. He thinks he can win the Champions League one more time, which is absurd. Mm-hmm. No team that's in the Champions League wants to deal with him.
Yeah, yeah.
If Manchester United, shitty ass team, doesn't want to deal with him, what makes him think that a fucking actual team that's going to win the competition is going to deal with him? And Messi's coming to Miami.
Oh, is he? Did he sign the deal?
Yeah, I think they haven't announced it yet, but I think it's
so?
like a done deal. Yeah, they're like probably the day after the World Cup they'll announce.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think it doesn't make sense that Ronaldo joins LAFC. You know.
Oh yeah.
If he wants to be a celebrity, you have to either the Galaxy or LAFC. And right now, LAFC is the darling of LA football. You know. Mm. The Galaxy is like the old hag.
Yeah.
nobody admits to liking the Galaxy, but LAFC I think is would be a good fit for him. Mm-hmm.
What's next on the
list? So, did you see that Rogan? So the guy that outed the Liver King.
Oh, okay. I know where you're going with this. Yeah.
Derek from More Plates, More Dates was on Rogan. So this guy has a YouTube channel, right? More Plates, More Dates.
Okay.
And he's the guy that broke the Liver King thing.
Oh, okay. You're talking about the buff guy, right?
Yeah, the buff white guy?
Yeah.
They were trying to get him to kind of be the like steroid consigliere for the Liver King, and he was like, "Fuck you guys, I'm exposing you," right?
Yeah.
So he was on Rogan like right after, like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And they went into like the moral dilemma of telling people you're natural when you're not, right?
Yeah.
And worse yet, profiteering off of it,
yeah.
right? So in Liver King's case, selling supplements and telling people like, do this thing and you're gonna fucking look ripped like me.
Yeah.
And then it went into The Rock, right? It got to The Rock, and you
Chris
know me,
Hemsworth,
and Hemsworth, but I don't give a fuck about anybody else. You know me, I love The Rock,
Daddy
right?
Dwayne, yeah.
Woo! And it's like, and I don't disagree with that assertion, right? The hardest worker in the room, fucking put in work, zip your Zoe, all that shit.
Yeah.
No doubt he works his ass off.
Yeah.
But there's no way he looks that way.
Yeah, when he didn't look like that.
Unassisted. He didn't look like that when he was the heavyweight champion of the world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a big motherfucker.
Yeah.
Huge motherfucker.
Yeah.
But he wasn't fucking shredded and jacked and like, when he did that, what was that? Hustle and something movie?
Hustle and Flow, I think. Or no, that's a different. Yeah, that's a completely different movie. But yeah, that's what came to mind. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
He was huge.
Hercules too. Remember?
Hercules, he was jacked.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm at this point where like he could get away with it. Nobody would give a shit. Nobody would be like, "Oh, The Rock took steroids." First of all, he's a fucking pro wrestler, right? Like, so they all fucking do.
Yeah, they all juice.
Yeah. So, what do you think?
I don't think in today's wellness policy that anyone juices.
You don't think Braun Strowman is fucking juiced to the gills?
No, because he has a background in strongman.
Fuck.
No, yeah, he might be, right? He might be. But I think he might be the exception. Just like Brock. Brock doesn't get tested for the wellness policy. Did you know that? Yeah. Yeah, he's for sure ruining it. I mean, we already know it. There's precedent for it, right?
Tested for the wellness? No, he's got a wellness exception?
Yeah, he does.
Fuck, that must
I think Hunter too, but I mean...
Brock must be nice, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, $500K a match, $100K a Raw.
Match. Listen to this shit, people. $500,000.
And average
for one
length
match.
of a match is like 8 to 12 minutes, right? Yeah. Yeah, so 10 minutes basically is his average. but it was a hard 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, hard for the other person too. Fuck.
Oh, taking all those Germans? Yeah, it's on the back of their head. But yeah, going back to the Rock, right? So I'll start with Hemsworth.
Yeah.
I always thought Hemsworth was natty.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I always thought Hemsworth was natty.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
Like, I could probably believe like Natty Hemsworth in Thor 1.
Yeah.
Avengers 1.
Mm-hmm.
But in fucking Ragnarok,
yeah, he was.
Woo!
So I think he has the genetics for it, right? Like he's just a fucking.
His brothers don't look like him.
Yeah, but Liam's a bitch, bro. Come on.
And the other one's a fat dude.
I didn't even know he had another brother.
He fucking plays. He's Thor. No. Is he Odin? He's Odin in the fucking skits.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Well, whatever, right? But no, I always thought Hemsworth was natty, right?
Mm.
And I just thought he fucking would go hard, right? And I know he has like a workout program now, right?
They fucking sold it for $200 million or some shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know
His
that.
app, yeah.
Yeah, and like
that's what I heard. I don't know. If it's...
So I've always wanted to know what's his diet, what's his workout routine.
Yeah.
Because I want to fucking look like Thor, right? Like
right.
fucking.
Well, that's the fucking problem with it.
And yeah, so. And then with The Rock. I mean, yeah, The Rock can fucking do no harm in my eyes, right? No wrong.
No.
At all. Like I've stopped wearing any type of branded clothing. Like this is under my sweater.
Yeah.
It's a $6.99 shirt from Target, right?
Yeah. By the way, don't fucking sleep on these Target.
Oh, comfortable.
5 for 10.
Last you for.
Fuck yeah.
But the only thing I'll go out and buy, like looking for, is Project Rock, right? Under Armour gear. I love the shit, right? Yep. And because Dwayne, the only tequila I drink is Teremana, right? Yeah, you can talk shit about my tequila choice. I don't care, right? I'm gonna support Daddy Dwayne, right? Yeah. Every movie he comes out with, right? Black Adam, although I wasn't really happy with it, went out and supported, right? And I hope I can get a signature on a belt one day, but
it was like a pretty good DCU movie for fucking.
Oh yeah,
for what it was.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. But I just thought those stupid ass characters should have been the main fucking driving force behind the movie. Just get out of the way, you know.
Yeah.
But anyways, so yeah, but like the hardest worker in the room, right? All that shit. I mean, have you seen him work out though?
No, he fucking goes hard.
He goes hard, right? But is it because of the roids? Maybe. But he's not selling me a supplement.
That's the thing. He's not selling me shit.
Yeah, right.
Even his fucking Zoa, like, it's just an energy drink.
Yeah, and like I personally have never really drank energy drinks, right? And like I'd probably go with a Red Bull over a Zoa. No offense, but you know. So yeah, no, I think there is something to be said of like you're selling a supplement and you're saying like this is what you need to take, or this is the workout that you need to do, or this is the meal plan that you need to follow to look like me. Yeah, you do have to disclose like, hey, yeah, you need to do this, but you also need to take some HRT or take these roids,
juice,
right? Yeah, I think there is a responsibility there. I would agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I don't think The Rock has to come out, and even Hemsworth, if he wasn't selling that stupid workout routine, right? I don't think he'd have to say that.
Right.
Yeah.
So a little like staying in the MMA wrestling arena.
Yeah.
So Dana's an interesting kind of juxtaposition for me too, of like somebody whose work ethic, hustle, and all bullshit aside, he took the sport from fucking human cockfighting in backwater fucking.
R.I.P. John McCain.
Yes, that's right. So from these fucking backwater podunk dirt roads to a fucking
the Trump Taj Mahal
$4 billion private company, right? And probably the biggest driver of why William Morris Endeavor is now a public company. Right? So fucking kudos to Dana for all that shit.
Yeah.
And I've always been a fan of his shit talking and his no bullshit attitude and doesn't take any shit either. All of that. That's all great. But he just gets into these little fucking pissing contests with people he really shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But it's been this way forever, right? Like, always on his fucking Twitter and his Instagram, picking fights with people. And today he was on this podcast with a fighter.
Patty Plumblett.
And they were talking shit on this guy named Ariel Helwani, who's a MMA journalist. And first of all, it's hilarious because Ariel has the thinnest fucking skin of anybody in this sport.
Yeah.
He can't just fucking, he has no good relationship with the UFC anymore, right? Like, he's persona non grata. Like, he's not going to get a fucking VIP pass.
Yeah. Or even a press pass.
Right?
Yeah.
He could have literally just gone on his show and been like, fuck both of you. You can kiss my whole asshole. And, like, leave it at that, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't watch it because I can't stand
it. It was an hour and 15 minutes.
I can't stand Ariel like that. Like,
yeah.
An hour and 15 minutes this man defended himself.
Yeah.
When all he could have just said was like, fuck both of you.
Yeah.
I don't need you. I have my brand. I have my fucking following.
Yeah.
I am in the Ariel Helwani business.
Yeah.
And instead this man we've been talking for an hour and 6 minutes. And we've hit like 12 fucking things.
Yeah.
This man talked for an hour and 15 just about his
just dissecting that minute or 2-minute clip that I sent.
It was like a 2-minute clip.
Yeah, he went by he's like, okay, I got to talk about this. These 5 words. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So, is Dana wasting time? And also, like, okay, so, Dana says dumb shit like football is a useless sport or whatever, but he's
so I've been telling people soccer only exists for me during the World Cup. So maybe I'm on that bad right? But just like football, American football, right? I
only watch one fucking game
the Super Bowl, right? Yeah, I can give a fuck about football, right? I was asked this weekend by a family member of ours that was in Vegas, like, oh, which one do you choose? The Rams, just because they're in LA. That's the only reason I root for them.
Right.
I could go a fuck about football, right? Like,
well, now you're right next to the fucking Raiders.
Yeah, and fuck. Well, you know what? Nah, fuck being a Raiders fan. Why would I want to associate myself with that fan base, right?
Although, is the fan base different in Vegas?
No, bro. They all just come over. Yeah. Bro, I was on a flight back one weekend from visiting my parents. The whole fucking flight, Raiders jerseys, and exactly what you would expect.
Really?
Right? Yeah. So
I remember. I don't know if this was the case for your.
No offense to any family members that might be listening, but
for your in high school, did you guys have like a no Raiders policy? We had a hard no Raiders policy. Oh yeah.
No Cowboys, yeah, because that was the thing back then.
Yeah, no, we had a hard no Raiders policy.
Yeah, no Cowboys.
Fucking like elementary school and fucking elementary school, dude. Then junior high, all of junior high.
Yeah.
And fucking high school, yeah.
No, I think because I remember Cowboys being a thing. No Cowboy jerseys.
No.
Yeah. Fuck. We couldn't wear blue polos and khaki pants in middle school, I think.
Too many Crips fucking in the neighborhood?
No, but like one of the, Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we couldn't. It was banned.
We had fucking
I think it may have been elementary school too.
We had like full-blown gang members in fucking junior high, dude. Like in my junior high, like dudes would be like, "I'll fucking have you."
No, it was more so in high school for me, where it was like I knew who the homies were.
We had this one dude.
Made friends with them. We've had this conversation.
Yeah, no, my guy was like fucking 6-something in junior high, right? And fucking built like a brick house. I was like, "There's no way that guy's a cop, right?" Like, there's no way that guy's fucking 12 years old. What the fuck? But he was like, somebody pissed him off one day in class. I am glad I don't remember his name. I don't know who you are. I couldn't pick you up out of a lineup, so don't come after me, right? But like, somebody pissed him off in class one day, and he was like, "Bitch, I will fucking have you murdered." Like, and everybody froze, right? The teacher didn't know what the fuck to do, because everybody knew, like, he wasn't just saying shit,
Yeah.
So then these are the reasons we couldn't have fucking Raiders anything in junior high. So But is it beneath Dana to be getting into these fucking
So yes, it is
tiffs with Ariel Helwani?
Yeah,
Like who is honestly like look, no disrespect to all of the hard work Ariel has done.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But who is he?
But who the
comparing?
fuck gives a shit about Ariel Helwani?
Yeah,
You know, like
when you're at his wealth level, when you're in the level of importance that he is, yeah. Well, why is it right? Why is it this guy?
right.
Yeah,
Because he fucking spoiled his Brock surprise, right? Like he couldn't let go of that shit.
yeah, whatever. But, yeah. First, yeah. So yes, he shouldn't be picking fights with Ariel, and he shouldn't continue to pick fights with Ariel.
Right. Maybe it's because it's easy, right? Like he knows he gets under Ariel's skin.
Yeah,
like how fun do you think, or how much do you think Dana laughed later today when he heard?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Helwani spent 65 minutes talking about it, and probably went home and spent another 3 hours bitching about it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Ariel just needs to learn to not let Dana win. But I don't know if he can help himself.
So when I was listening, because I listened to like half of Ariel's rant, right?
Could Dana like blacklist Ariel or the fighters from talking to Ariel?
He's tried. He talked about it.
Like if Dana really wanted to
Yeah,
fuck
he
with
talked
him,
about it.
could he be like, no, Ariel's off limits?
Yeah, he talked about it.
Who did, Ariel?
He's like, Dana's come out and told fighters' managers, like, you don't go on his podcast. And I guess one person did. I don't know. And he's like, you all know who that was. And I was like, who was it? Like, I don't know. Right? Like, say names, bitch. Like, you know? But, and he started talking, because one of the things that Patty said was, he profits off of fighters. Why isn't he paying me for an interview? He's like, bro, I'm a fucking journalist. I'm not going to pay you. Did Larry, Larry, not Larry.
He used Rogan. He said, does Rogan pay his gas?
Yeah,
Did
he
Oprah
used
pay
Rogan.
his gas?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all that, right? The guy,
Larry King?
Larry King, right? Did Larry King pay for his? So I understand that, right?
Can I interrupt you there
Yeah,
for a
to
second?
put yourself in the same name.
Who the fuck is Ariel Helwani?
So yeah. But again, he does see himself as a journalist, right? So maybe there's something to be said there about him. But he went on to say, like, he went on to explain how he's never made money off of these interviews, right? He's like, I have a contract. I don't own this channel. I don't make more money if Izzy's sitting in this chair or if some nobody's sitting in this chair, right? He's like, I don't make any money off YouTube. I have a contract to do this show, and that's what I get paid for.
So
right?
So it doesn't matter if the MMA Hour gets 100 viewers or a million and a half viewers.
Yeah, he gets no bonus, no. So right? And he's like, it's been that way since 2006.
Well, that's pretty stupid
today.
of him.
Well, yeah, but in any case, right? I was like, why do you have to fucking defend yourself? Why do you have to answer to why you've never made money, right?
Like to that degree too. Right?
Yeah, like
granular.
He went in, right? Like he talked about it.
Yeah.
But I understand his thing, because he's like, everyone always says the same thing. You've been fired from every big job that you've had, right? He's like, Brendan Schaub says that shit, right? He's like, now Patty's saying that shit. Dana always said that shit too. So I can imagine that all these years of torment. Because apparently he got fired from Fox because of Dana. He went up and he just complained so much. They're like, you know what? Like, we need to go our separate ways, right? And then
Dana complained.
Yeah, to Fox. And then he said that at ESPN, Dana just made his life so miserable and so difficult that he was like, I don't want to do this anymore, right? Like, they didn't fire him. He chose to leave, right? So I can understand where this may seem like an isolated instance where, like, dude, why, like, grow some thick skin? Right, but I can imagine like
Dana's
so
been
many
fucking
years
with him
of
for
fucking
years.
with him, right? And then he mentioned that in 2018 he had Patty on the show before he got to the UFC. He's like, I knew about this guy and I was talking about this guy before he fucking made it to the big show, right? I was on that bandwagon way before he made it to the UFC. He's like, so, like, I don't understand why he thinks I've been hating on him, right? Because that's another thing Patty said. He's like, he hates on me. He's like, when did I hate on you, right? So I think it was like a perfect combination of just Dana doing his same old shit, and then Patty, someone who he felt like he had supported and given a not a spotlight, but maybe a platform for more people to know about him, right? Like, bro, why are you doing me dirty like this? Like, why are you coming at me? So I think that's where it comes from.
He was also like the teacher's pet when he was in the good graces of the UFC.
Oh yeah,
he got all the scoops.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. So. So I understand his perspective. I understand why the need to defend yourself, but not to that extent.
All right. So hypothetical, right?
Yeah.
So this is MMA, right? And it's a shoot, right? As far as we know.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for somebody to be like, "Nah, Dana paid me $100,000 to take
You
a
think
dive."
so?
Oh
No. When Anderson went down in that Weidman fight, I was like, this shit ain't fixed. And no one could ever convince me otherwise. Why would you let
Weidman?
Anderson? Yeah, Weidman! Of all these motherfuckers, he was 8-0 at the time, right? Had bum knees or whatever it was, right, after the fact.
The most boring.
You couldn't milk that cow.
Personality.
Right, yeah, exactly. Fucking, I'm American.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm convinced that there's... Boxing, sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But not MMA.
No, I don't think the
It's a
sport's
shoot.
dirty, but
Yeah.
but it's a shoot, right? And Ariel was in the best of graces with the UFC up until UFC 200, and then he broke the news that Brock was coming back, like hours, right, 2-3 hours before the UFC announced it on the broadcast. And the UFC had prepared this like really cool package and everything, and I guess Dana asked him to not break it, right? Like that's a part of the story too, is that Dana knew that Ariel found out, and he personally asked him to not break it, to just wait until after the broadcast to talk about it. And Ariel, because he's a journalist, you know, he's the fucking Walter Cronkite of MMA. He calls himself this shit. Like, get the fuck off of your own dick, bro. He had to do it, right? He had to break the news. What was the return on investment on the...
So that's the thing, right? That's what I was just about to say. Like, where are you now, and what did you benefit from that short-sighted decision?
That's right. What did it cost you?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And like,
because, I mean, at this point, he can't go to UFC events.
mm-hmm.
He can only talk about it after the fact. And you're telling me now that Dana's tried to keep fighters from going on his show. He doesn't own his MMA identity.
Yeah.
Right? And basically you're like blacklisted from the sport that is your livelihood. It's kind of a weird fucking place to be.
Yeah.
If this is your revenue stream. Conversely, he's entering the wrestling space now with BT Sports, right?
Yeah.
And he seems to be in Hunter's good graces.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the fucking catch. Wrestling is not a shoot.
Yeah.
Wrestling is all scripted.
Yeah.
Wrestling is all about the secret.
Yep.
Wrestling is about the big surprise. How fucking far do you think Hunter would flip Ariel Helwani if on January, whatever the fuck the date is going to be, Ariel decides to go on his broadcast and say, The Rock is backstage at the Royal Rumble?
He will be entrant number 30. Yeah.
How the fuck far do you think Ariel Helwani will ever be from a wrestling event after that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if Ariel can't fucking help himself, if Ariel can't learn to get out of his own way, he's going to be persona non grata in the two industries that are paying for his mortgage.
Yeah.
I don't know that he can help himself.
And, you know, he said he didn't have a bias, right? But he recently interviewed TK, right? Tony Khan, All Elite Wrestling co-founder.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm saying that like...
Right.
Yeah.
And he asked him about the Punk situation, right? Tony hasn't answered a single fucking question about Punk, right? And like 7 questions in a row. Well, what can you tell me about Punk? What happened after the fact, right? What is there that you can tell me? And then Tony was just like, I appreciate the question. Unfortunately, I can't talk about the situation, right? And then Ariel afterward was like, this was like the most frustrating interview I've ever done.
Yeah, he went and talked shit about Tony,
right? But again...
Tony's probably just doing what the fucking lawyers told him to do.
Yeah.
Right? This is an open investigation.
Yeah.
There was a physical altercation backstage, just for people that don't know.
Yeah.
There was a fucking... there was a literal, like a legitimate fight backstage.
Yeah.
People got bit. Dogs got kicked. I'm just making that up. But like shit went down, like legitimate shit went down. The guy got stripped of his fucking title.
Yeah.
His fucking fake wrestling title. They legitimately took it away from him because bad shit went down.
Yeah.
He hasn't been back on TV since.
Well, he's injured, which didn't help the situation, but yeah.
But like his name is not even like pronounced on television, right?
Yeah.
So And there is an open investigation. They are.
No, it's closed.
Did they finish it?
Yeah, they finished.
Okay, so I'm sure there's lawyers involved. They're trying to buy him out of his contract or do something.
Yeah,
They're trying to figure it out.
I think he's gonna come back.
Yeah.
Or okay, so one of two things: he comes back at the end of his injury, or we see Punk versus Austin at WrestleMania 38, headlining WrestleMania in LA.
So you think Punk gets out of his deal?
I'm sure there would be a no compete, right? Like that's the only way this works. But god damn, can you imagine Punk versus
Unannounced?
Austin? No, announced. They would announce it, of course.
No, why would you?
Why wouldn't you?
Why would? Because it's WrestleMania. It's gonna do fucking gangbusters no matter what, right?
Imagine if they
but
fucking
hold on.
No.
Austin's out in the ring doing his fucking Austin gimmick. Fucking doing the beer bath.
No.
Stunning somebody. And then fucking... What's the name of the song?
Cult of Personality.
Cult of Personality fucking hits.
Yeah, but this isn't Cody coming back last year, right? Where it was like a badly kept secret, just like Punk's return was, right? We knew he was coming back. And we knew he was debuting at the United Center in Chicago on Rampage. This
You were
is
there,
Stone
right?
Cold... Huh?
You were there?
No, I wish.
You were there for the pay-per-view?
Yeah, for a lot his first match. This is Stone Cold Steve Austin headlining WrestleMania.
Yeah, but he did it last year.
They still announced that Austin was going to be there and that he was going to be in the ring with KO.
Yeah. But it was not... Oh, I think... we exhausted this. All right. Austin at Mania last year.
Yeah.
They announced...
So they announced him ahead of time that he was going to be there, right? And that he was going to be in the ring with Kevin Owens, right? So why wouldn't you do the same thing for CM Punk, who has all this controversy around him, right? Again, Brett, Sean, Survivor Series 97, right? Why wouldn't you capitalize on all that? And give the fans this dream match? You don't think people would sign up on Peacock to view
to watch the
WrestleMania?
match? I guess. But you know me, I'm a big mark for fucking, like, the surprise.
No, but not on this one. When it's headlining WrestleMania,
Like, I don't want to know The Rock. What I want for The Rock to happen is I want The Rock to be in the fucking hotel up until Royal Rumble entrant number 20.
And
then they have a giant box that they roll him into the fucking gorilla position in.
Yeah.
And then 30 hits, and he walks out of that fucking box, and nobody knows what's in the fucking box.
Yeah.
And nobody fucking, like, there's no spoilers, there's no...
Well, you would know at that point, like, oh, it's some big
Something's
shit.
gonna happen, you know?
Yeah.
Could be the Big Show. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't want anything to fucking, like, let me on to...
Like Edge,
The Rock is coming
Royal Rumble 2020.
Nobody knew?
No, well, they had reported.
Your camera, by the way, I think the memory on that phone fucking filled up, so you don't have a camera on you. But go ahead.
But a couple months before, they had talked about, like, or reported that he had seen doctors and may have been cleared. And I think there were reports leading up to that.
Because he was legitimately fucked up, right?
Yeah. But I think a couple hours before that was reported that he was there, but not. It was like, okay, fuck, like, what number? When is he gonna come out? And then you hear
his wife was working in the company.
No. Oh, Beth. Yeah. I was like, Lita?
Like, he had a reason to be there, right? Even if he wasn't going to be in the Rumble. And they could have been like, so. maybe not, right?
I think so.
There's no reason whatsoever for The Rock to be at the Rumble.
Yeah.
So I don't want anybody to fucking tell me The Rock is at the Rumble.
All right, well, I'll send you the screenshot when Fightful Select reports that The Rock.
Oh, man, I would be so fucking pissed. I just want to feel like a little kid, you know?
Yeah.
And, in some way, you know what I would really like, and I know this would never fucking happen, but I would really like is for Paul Heyman to come out and say, your tribal chief wants to take the night off at WrestleMania. He's entering himself in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, just like they did with Brock.
And Roman is fucking number one.
Yeah.
And he just fucking cleans house. And then 30 hits. And we get them for 10 seconds. They put hands on each other for 10 seconds. And The Rock fucking flips him over. And now Roman has to work fucking Mania, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Something about that.
That'd be good. That's not a bad idea.
Just something about that really fucking gets my childhood Booker ambitions going.
I think now is the perfect time.
It's the only time.
Yeah, because it's in L.A.
It's in L.A.
Right?
He's fucking 50.
Yeah.
Let's just get it done.
Yeah. Let's just do business now.
And put him over, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't think there's any question that... Imagine they're like, oh, once in a lifetime thing, like with Cena, and then next year they do it again.
The thing that would work is if the belts are on the line at the Rumble. If you want to put the belts on Rock.
Why? Okay, no. That makes absolutely no sense. Why would you disrupt his streak right now?
Because I do think that, maybe this is my Vince trauma talking.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I'm very traumatized by the way. All this shit Vince did for.
Why are we starting with
years.
a 10-minute promo on fucking Dynamite? Bro, it's a wrestling show. Let's start with wrestling.
So, I could have seen Vince putting the belt on the Rock at Mania.
Yeah.
I 100% think Vince would have put the belt on Rock over Roman at Mania.
Yeah.
Hunter probably won't do that. But if my Vince brain is talking, I think the only way that makes sense is you put the belt on the Rock at the Rumble and Roman gets it back at Mania. Because the Rock getting the belt off of Roman at the Rumble is not a pinfall, is not a submission, doesn't hurt Roman. It was a surprise. It was a
and
fucking.
Then you have the
it was
bloodline
heat,
in there,
right?
Yeah, supporting him, backing him up. So you got Sammy, the Usos,
and then Roman gets his fucking heat back and his belts back, and he's the fucking tribal chief at Mania. If they have that, if there's anybody in that company that still has that Vince instinct to fuck everything up, no respect to Vince McMahon.
Do you want to see it?
Rest in peace, Vince. R.I.P. Vince.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how much longer he lasts. But
no, I don't want to see it fucked up. But also, The Rock going into Mania, where we all know he's going to do the job, is not as exciting as The Rock going into Mania with something to lose. And what's the other angle? The only other angle is I'm the fucking tribal chief. I'm the highest grossing movie star of all time.
What other draw do you need than The Rock versus Roman Reigns? Why do you need stakes?
Because that's wrestling.
So what was Mr. T and Hulk Hogan versus Paul Orndorff and
you had Hogan
and Mr. T?
But Hogan
they
was
were involved in the
right?
match. There was nothing on the line. It was a tag match in the main event of WrestleMania.
So it's the same logic as
Mike
Tyson.
Two stars.
Mike Tyson,
exactly
with DX.
Yeah, who's the draw? It's Tyson. Yeah, Austin
at that time,
right?
Fuck.
Yeah, he was
white hot, right?
Still going up, right? He was entering the peak.
Yeah.
But who's the draw here? It's the fucking Rock.
But he's gonna lose.
Roman Reigns.
But he's gonna lose
at Wrestle. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the outcome is.
Don't you want some suspense?
No, I don't care. I'm just fucking glad that we're seeing The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's exciting, and I hope it's gonna happen. Like you said,
I think so.
now's the only time that it makes sense.
Yeah, why would you do it at Cowboy Stadium
or fucking Tampa or some shit?
You do it in LA where you are the star.
And he's been building a lot of goodwill with SoFi. I don't know if you've noticed.
Oh yeah, he's always at the Rams games.
He's always at the fucking games.
Yeah,
like,
I was going to make that
the national anthem.
Yeah, this past weekend. Yeah, he's
so
always in. Yeah,
it can be like you're coming to my house.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 falls. Can we do something where it seems possible? Can we do 2 out of 3 falls?
You're asking for bringing TK to book this, and then
if we do 2 out of 3 falls, then The Rock can get 1 in. Right. The Rock starts with a pin.
Yeah.
And then we all go, oh fuck, is he gonna do it? And then fucking Roman gets his 2, right?
Yeah.
Something. I just need something to make me forget that Superman is gonna come down at the end of the movie.
Bro, you're telling me when you're in the middle of SoFi,
which we will be,
for WrestleMania with thousands and thousands of fans around
millions.
Yeah, I was gonna say the millions around you. You're not gonna have goosebumps. Just the fact that you're watching Roman. It's like fucking Hogan versus
of course, yeah.
What's the you're gonna be in the moment. You're not gonna think about, oh, this doesn't make sense logically.
Okay, but even in that moment, that's a great example, by the way, because Rock Hogan, going into it, we were all like, there's no way The Rock loses, right? But because there was no title, there was no streak, there was no thing attached to the end of that match. Once that match got hot and people turned on The Rock and were cheering on Hogan, I remember that match, like watching it live, halfway through it going, they can fucking call an audible. They could have Hogan go over on this. They didn't. The Rock still won.
Which was the right decision no matter
Which
what.
was, of course, the right call.
Yeah.
But they could have made that call. And because there was nothing at the end of the match keeping me from suspending my belief, I felt like they could have changed the call.
Yeah.
There's no way that I have that ability to suspend my disbelief, if Roman has those fucking belts on him.
So you don't think if The Rock called the audible in the ring, that they wouldn't be happy with that?
No. He wouldn't do that.
Oh yeah, well yeah. First off,
Yeah,
he wouldn't do that
to
to
Roman.
He wouldn't. Yeah, he wouldn't do it to Roman.
He's going in to do the favors, right? We
Yeah.
know this. He's doing the job.
So what's the problem with him just doing the favors for family and drawing potentially the biggest gate in wrestling in history and having the most viewers?
That
of
thing
all
that
time?
inside of me, that like little kid voice, that's like, I want to believe. I want to have that Disney moment of like, he could do it. I want to pop.
Anytime. What was the last show that you went to? It was the Forum, right, for Dynamite?
Yeah. MJF's promo, by the way, that night made him
Yeah,
a fucking
great.
star.
Yeah. So, what was the last show before that? Last major show?
The fucking SmackDown.
Oh well, you went to Double or Nothing.
Oh, that's like the day before. Yeah.
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 The weekend before, yeah.
Yeah, but the last WWE show before that was that SmackDown, the Fox debut,
Oh yeah, with
where The Rock came out. Yeah.
Yeah, and with
Yeah.
Rock and Kofi in the minute.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Kofi. I don't know. When I'm at the arena, when I'm watching this shit live, I get lost. I'm not thinking like, what's the logical booking here? I'm just like, holy shit! Like this
You're
is-
in the moment.
Yeah.
All right.
And how are you? You've been to SoFi. I still haven't been to SoFi.
Yeah.
I don't understand the gravity of the stadium.
Yeah, no, SoFi's really
Huge,
fucking cool.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
SoFi's great.
So can you imagine the pop?
It's gonna be fucking ruckus.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be
explode,
fucking
right?
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not gonna be thinking about like, oh fuck.
We know the finish.
Yeah, like
Yeah. But I trust Hunter. I think he's gonna do something good, no matter what.
he'll do something logical. He won't do anything exciting, but he'll do something logical.
Right.
Which, is all we can ask for at this point, coming out of Vince in his later years, but just be logical about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope Dwayne comes back. That'll be exciting.
He's got to.
Yeah, I think so, but
Oh, we'll wrap it up on this note. Helwani asked Hunter a list of like 4 or 5 names.
Oh yeah.
Every single one of those names now has come back to the company,
Yeah.
right? It was Braun,
Bray.
Bray Wyatt, anyways,
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But he rattled off this list, and the last name on the list was The Rock, right?
Yeah.
And when whoever was the last person that came back, I was like, oh, the whole list is done.
Yeah.
The only person missing is The Rock.
Yeah.
It's got to happen.
Yeah.
They have to make it happen. Anyways, that got me like really hyped up.
Oh yeah.
So I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks for making time.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. We'll see how it turns out.
Yeah.
All right. See you.